Hi students, welcome to ACE Academy. I am Lankeshwar Rao, General Science and Technology faculty. Today we are going to discuss about some of the important questions pattern of biology which concerns to SSC CGL Tier 1 examination. So before going to analysis of biology questions, here it is one of the important announcement. Our ACE Academy offers SSC CGL Tier 1 recorded videos version. Okay, so here it is the details of, here it is the course details. For 3 months, the course price is 2,499 rupees. Next, for 6 months, 4,499 rupees. Next, for 12 months, 6,999 rupees. Okay, right. So, and here it is completely recorded videos version. Okay, so you can access from anywhere and by 24/7, and here it covers general awareness, next general intelligence and reasoning, next numerical aptitude, next English comprehensions. Okay, so what were mentioned in SSC CGL Tier 1 examination, so the total syllabus will mostly be covered. Okay, so in this program, so to download or to purchase this program, you have to download the app, ACE online app, so from Google Play Store or Windows Store, whatever it is. Okay, next if you pay the amount, then you will get the credentials. By using that, you can access the videos. Okay, so here course features are, we provided 350 plus hours recorded videos. Next, free online test series are also be provided. Okay, next next 24/7 short support is also be there. Next, live doubt clearing section is also be existed along with this course, so you have to utilize this opportunity. Okay, right. So next one. So here it is the first question: how many arteritis are there? Okay, arteritis are there in an umbilical cord. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, you know that umbilical cord. In that, stem cells are existed, na? So by using those stem cells, we can recreate the organs also. Of course, present it is under developing stage. So most of the stem cells present utilized to cure blood related problems. Around 80 blood related problems we have. So those problems can be nullified by using, okay, so mostly rectified by using stem cells. Na? So here the question is, how many arteritis are, okay, so arteries are there, arteries are there in umbilical cord. Yes, so two arteries are majorly existed. Here it is. This is the umbilical cord. Okay, this is considered like umbilical cord. Suppose if you elaborate that umbilical cord in this, it has two umbilical arteries. Here it is 1 and here it is 2, and one umbilical vein is also there. Okay, so here they raised about arteries, na? So that's why you have to consider option 2 is the right answer. Okay, yes. Next one. Next one. So lymph is a light clear fluid made up of white blood cells. White blood cells that attack harmful dash in the blood. Okay, of course we know that white blood cells are also called as lymphocytes. Na? Here it is the information. So if you consider white blood cells, it is responsible for immunity of human beings. Okay, so the number, if the number of white blood cells increases, mostly it is responsible for immunity power of human beings. Na? So it is also considered like lymphocytes. Okay, so lymphocytes. Suppose if you consider red blood cells, it is called as erythrocytes. But here they mentioned about, so lymph is a clear, light clear fluid made up of white blood cells that attack harmful dash in the blood. So what kind of microorganisms affected by this lymph? Mostly bacteria. So that's why we have to consider option 1 is the right answer. Option 1 is the right answer. Next one. Next question. Carbon and energy requirement of an autotrophic organisms are fulfilled by, so glycogenation, photosynthesis, locomotion, respiration. So carbon and energy. Of course, guys, here you may have an idea about photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis means when carbon dioxide, okay, so carbon dioxide and water molecules in presence of sunlight. So mostly plants absorb carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight. So it can produce carbohydrates plus oxygen, okay, oxygen plus some amount of energy, So here these type of photosynthesis, most of the photosynthesis process are executed only in daytime, okay, so most of the cases. So plants absorb carbon dioxide and water, and here it releases carbonic acid, sorry, here it releases carbohydrate. They mention carbon and energy requirement of an autotrophic. Autotrophic means, so it does not depends upon any other constraints. If you consider plants, it directly absorb sunlight and carbon dioxide and water. Now finally it can produce carbohydrates, okay, so it can prepare food on its own. So these type of constraints are considered under the category of autotrophic organisms. So that's why we have to consider photosynthesis. Option 2 is the right option here. And one more interesting point is, so in this carbon dioxide we have oxygen molecules. Next, if you consider water, here also oxygen molecules are there. So after completion of this photosynthesis process, mostly it emits oxygen. So which type of oxygen is majorly released from here? Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you consider oxygen, actually it is liberated from either, okay, so mostly liberated from carbon dioxide or water molecules. So which is responsible for liberation of oxygen in the photosynthesis process? Mostly we are getting this oxygen from water molecules. You have to remember that one. And one more interesting point is, so this type of reaction here, it depends upon the sunlight. That's why these reactions are called as endothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions, okay. And one more interesting point, you may have an idea about sunlight. Sunlight, if you consider sunlight, okay, so mostly white light. So white light is having 7 colors, VIB, GYOR, VIBGR. So the amount of yield can be raised by which color, the presence of which color. What I am saying is, so instead of white color, if you are using violet or if you are using red, so what about the yield of photosynthesis process? Is it increases or decreases? So suppose if you choose a red color light, only a red color light in presence of white light, mostly the yield, the amount of yield can be increased, okay, yield can be increased. Suppose instead of red, if you use violet color, mostly yield can be decreases. So here the photosynthesis process is also depends upon the color of the light. So mostly we are getting maximum amount of yield in presence of red color light only. And if you consider plants, it absorb mostly it emits green color, okay, it emits green color. Of course plants are having chlorophyll. In chlorophyll, magnesium element is there, so it absorbs the sunlight. So what kind of color mostly be absorbed by plants to exhibit green color? Okay, so mostly here it absorbs red color. So the complementary color of, here you should also know about complementary colors. So BV Roy G, it means to exhibit green color, it should absorb red color wavelength of sunlight. So here the complementary color of green is nothing but red. So these 3 points you have to remember, okay. So mostly the maximum amount of yield can be observed in presence of red color light. Next, here carbon and energy required especially for photosynthesis process, so it is considered to autotrophic organisms. Next, the complementary color of red is considered like green. So these 3 points are very important for your examination. So here it is some additional data. Of course, if you consider this data, mostly we already discussed about each and every point here. Each and every point. So plants absorb, plants emit green color because it has chlorophyll. Next, it is having magnesium element. So this magnesium absorb sunlight. Okay, so sunlight, mostly violet, blue, and red color light can be absorbed by plants to emit a green color. Na? So the maximum amount of photosynthesis we observed in presence of red light, and minimum hi students. So next question, which part of the body is associated with the rickets disorder? Okay, heart, bones, eyes, skin. So what did they mention? Which part of the body is associated with rickets disorder? Rickets disorder, heart, bones, eyes, skin. So here, if you consider rickets, mostly it concerns to bones related problem. Na? The deficiency of vitamin D. Okay, so the deficiency of vitamin D mostly responsible for rickets. So vitamin D, next calcium, so phosphate, lack of these derivatives are responsible for rickets disorder. Na? So and if you observe rickets, mostly here bones are mostly be softening and weaken. Na? Next, mostly this type of problem we observed infants, okay, infants. So who are breastfed only may develop a vitamin D deficiency. Okay, so this is some of the information about rickets. So in your examination point of view, you have to remember rickets is majorly caused by the deficiency of vitamin D. Vitamin D. Okay, it's next one. Which of the following disease is caused by a parasite? Caused by parasite. So parasite. So here it is plague, goiter, malaria, pneumonia. So which is the correct option here? So plague, goiter, malaria, pneumonia. Which is the correct option? So mostly we have to consider malaria. Why? Because if you consider malaria, it was caused by female mosquito. Na? The name of the mosquito is considered like Anopheles. Okay, so Anopheles mosquito, so it is responsible for malaria, and here it is the information. So this mosquito, these type of mosquitoes spread, these type of mosquitoes deposits sporozoites on human body. Okay, so on the skin of human body. So because of that, mostly liver may be infected. Okay, so finally okay, so the people are suffering with this malaria, na? So here you should also remember World Malaria Day we conducted every year on 25th April 25th. Okay, next, what are the remedy for malaria, or what are the malarial drugs? Mostly we have to consider chloroquine. Okay, so chloroquine is considered as one of the major drug to prevent malarial related problems. Now, yes, so here you have to remember 3 points. It is responsible by parasites. Next, Anopheles mosquito is responsible for that. Next, World Malaria Day, 25th April. Next one, chloroquine derivatives are majorly being used to treat malaria. Okay. Next, what about the remaining ones? Okay, so here it is responsible. It is concerns to parasites. What about plague? Plague is caused by bacteria. Next, goiter. The deficiency of iodine causes goiter. Next, pneumonia. So this pneumonia is majorly affected in the region of lungs. Na? Here it is the information. If you consider goiter, so it mostly caused by the deficiency of iodine. Okay, iodine deficiency. Of course, we know that thyroid gland. So this thyroid gland is existed in this region. Na? Of course, it's looking like a butterfly. Okay, so it's looking like butterfly. Na? So that's why it is also considered like a butterfly shaped gland. Butterfly shaped gland. Na? So this is the concept here. So next, pneumonia. Okay, so pneumonia. So this pneumonia is affected by the by mostly bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Okay, so these are all considered as responsible for that. Variety of bacteria, viruses, fungi are responsible for that. Mostly, if you observe the infected region, so that is nothing but lungs. Mostly we observe this pneumonia problem in the region of lung. Na? So cough. Next, pus, some kind of pus. So fever, chill. So this type of things mostly we observed in the period of pneumonia. Okay, so next, plague. So this is also very important. This plague is completely concerns to bacteria related problem. Okay, so the responsible bacteria is considered like Yersinia pestis. Yersinia pestis. You have to remember the name of the bacterium. So this is infected by mostly biting of rats. Okay, biting of rats. So this is also considered like Black Death. So plague disease also considered like Black Death. Okay, so these are the major concerns about the remaining options. Next one, which of the following is a water soluble vitamin? So A, K, D, E, D, C. Of course, we know that ADEK. ADEK is completely concerns to fat soluble. Fat soluble. So here the remaining one is vitamin C. Na? So it is considered like water soluble vitamin. Of course, you know that vitamin C is called as ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid. Vitamin C is considered as ascorbic acid. So next, vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin D. So these are all considered as fat soluble. Not only these three things, E is also there. Of course, in examination point of view, you have to remember the chemical names. Okay, so the names of chemical names of different types of vitamins. Here it is the information. So if you consider vitamin A, it is called as retinoids. Next, vitamin D, so calciferol. Next, vitamin E, tocopherol. Okay, so vitamin K is also there, and next, so B1, thiamine. So B2, riboflavin. Next, B3, niacin. Next, B5, so pantothenic acid. Okay, so pantothenic acid. Next, B6, so pyridoxine. Next, B7, biotin. Next, B9, folic acid. So B12, so cobalamin, cyanocobalamin. So in this cyanocobalamin, cobalt element is existed, cobalt metal is majorly existed. Next vitamin C, it is called as ascorbic acid. Of course these are all considered as, okay. So vitamin B related derivatives are considered as water soluble. Along with that, C is also there, okay. Ascorbic acid is also there. So these are the constituents about water soluble derivatives, okay. Right. So next one, dash is a branch of biology that studied fungi. So here they mention morphology, virology, calology, next mycology. So if you consider mycology, so this is about the branch of fungi, okay. So the subject is study about fungi. Next, what about calology and virology? Of course, calology means it is the subject which is used to study about beauty. Na? So next, virology, of course you know that, viruses. So here it is the concept, so virology. So this is nothing but study of biology of viruses and viral related diseases. Next, calology. So calology is nothing but study the branch which is used to study the taste and beauty of nature and arts, okay. Nature and arts, you have to remember this terminology, beauty. Next one, so morphology. So morphology means how organs are formed, okay. So formation of living organs are there, na? How organs are formed. So to study about those type of subjects are considered under the category of morphology. Next, mycology. So it is used to study about fungi, okay. So fungi related derivatives. Na? So here it is the concept about remaining options. So simply you have to remember, so mycology fungi, calology beauty, virology viruses, and morphology is nothing but how organs are formed, okay. So those type of subjects, the subject which study about how organs are formed is considered under the category of morphology. Next one, dash is a practice of establishing and managing individual trees generally for amenity purposes, okay. Amenity purposes. Arboriculture, next one viniculture, next floriculture, next silviculture. So here they mention about the practice of establishing and managing individual trees. Individual trees for which purpose? Amenity purposes. Amenity purposes. So which is the correct option here? So if you considered for amenity purposes, you have to choose this one, okay. So arboriculture. Arboriculture. Option 1 is the correct option. What about the remaining one? Viniculture, floriculture, silviculture. What is the meaning of these derivatives? So here floriculture means it is used to study about the growing and marketing of flowers, okay, marketing of flowers and ornamental plants, okay. So simply you have to remember growing and marketing of flowers and ornamental plants. So this is nothing but floriculture. Next one, viniculture. So this viniculture means cultivation and harvesting of grapes. After cultivation of grapes, so we can prepare wine related products, na? So that is considered under the category of viniculture, okay. So here cultivation and harvesting of grapes and primarily to make wine, Next, silviculture. Silviculture means, so this is the art and science of controlling, establishing of growth and composition of health, quality of forest and woodland, na? So this is nothing but silviculture, okay. Simply we should consider like, so art and science of controlling, establishment and growing and composition of forest and woodland derivatives, na? So this is considered under this category, okay, right. So next one, which of the following is also called green algae? Green algae. So here they mentioned porphyridium. Next one phaeophyes. Next one rhodophyes. Next one chlorophyes. Okay, chlorophyes. So here different options are mentioned. Na? So which is the correct option here? Here they are rising about green algae. So nothing but green algae means nothing but chlorophytes. Chlorophytes. Okay, option 4 is the correct option. What about the remaining one? So if you consider Porphyridium, next phaeophytes, next rhodophytes. So what we call? So we have different types of algae. Na? Red algae is also there, brown algae is also there. So which category these three options are concerned? Okay. So here it is the data. If you consider Porphyridium, it is considered like red algae. Okay, so it is considered like red algae. Why? Because in that polysaccharides are majorly existed. Because of the existence of these derivatives, it's looking like red algae. Red algae. Okay, right. So next one, rhodophytes. Okay, so rhodophytes, it is also considered red algae because it has one of the water soluble pigment. So that is water soluble red pigment. The name of the pigment is considered like phycoerythrin or phycoerythrin. Because of existence of this phycoerythrin, more than 98% of derivatives mostly we observed in this type of constituents. Now because of that, it is also considered under the category of red algae. Next one, so phaeophytes. Phaeophytes, it is considered like brown algae. Brown algae. So mostly, so it's looking like this. So this type of derivatives we observed in marine environment. Na? So in water related environment. Na? So this is the concept about the remaining options. The next one, here it is the next question. Which of the following argons secretes hydrochloric acid that helps our body in killing pathogenic bacteria? So you may have an idea about the acid which is secreted in stomach. That is nothing but HCl, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid. It is responsible for digestion. Okay. Next, if you consider the pH value of hydrochloric acid, it's mostly one like that, na, hydrochloric acid. So this is also one of the strong acid which is exists in our body. Mostly we observe this type of chemical constituent in the region of stomach. Okay, so that's why we have to consider option 2 is the right answer. Okay, so this argon secrete the hydrochloric acid and it is helpful for our body in killing pathogenic bacteria in the region of stomach. So this is also considered like a gastric juice. Gastric juice. Considered like gastric juice. Okay, so these are all considered as some of the interesting concepts about hydrochloric acid, nothing but HCl. So and muriatic acid. It means if you consider HCl, it is chemically pronounced as hydrochloric acid or gastric juice or muriatic acid. These are all concerns to HCl. Next, which of the following is another name of white ant? White ant. Of course, generally ants exhibit red color. So few ants exhibit black color. Na? But we are also having white ants. Those are nothing but termite. Okay. So termite, option 1 is the correct option here. So termite is also called as white ant. Of course, you may have an idea about this type of derivatives. Okay. So white ants, na, these are called as white ant, nothing but termite. So here it is mostly consuming cellulose derivatives. And one more interesting point, according to phylogenetic studies, okay, so the closest relative to this termite is considered as cockroach, which is the closest relative derivative of this termite, nothing but cockroach. Okay, so you have to remember these 3 points here. Next one, dash is the ability of single cell to produce a fertile adult individual. Yes. Here they mention mutation, cloning, next totipotency, next one pluripotency. Okay, so what did they mention? Dash is the ability of single cell to produce a fertile adult individual. So here this type of single cell related terminology is concerns to totipotency. Totipotency. So let's consider one example, then you will get the clarity here. For example, if you choose carrot, okay, so this type of root of derivative, okay, root type of derivatives, mostly some of the by using some of the fragrant we can enhance the total body here, na? Okay, so we can develop the cultured free cells like that. So here we considered only just one single root. By using this one single root in the laboratory, we can produce adult plant. So because of that, this is considered like one cell embryo. Okay, one cell embryo. So this totipotency is also considered as one cell embryo. Of course, totipotency means nothing but the ability of an isolated cell to produce a fertile or individual or mostly adult individual. Na? Yes. So here it is the important concept. Mostly if you consider spores and zygotes, these two are considered as the major examples of this totipotency. Totipotency. Okay, right. Next one. What about the remaining options? Suppose if you consider cloning, okay, if you consider cloning means this is the process of generating genetically identical copies. Okay, so the first cloning animal is dolly, na? So that is one of the sheep. Okay, so that is that was created in the laboratory. So that's why in examination point of view, they mostly rise in this orientation, which is the first developed cloning animal. Then you have to mention dolly sheep. Okay, the name of the sheep is considered as dolly. So cloning means this is the process of generating genetically identical copy of cell or an organism. Okay, right. Next one, mutation. Okay, so mutation is related to DNA. So DNA gene. So mostly if you consider some DNA, so in that some of the regions are getting to be damaged, na? So those damaged derivatives are completely reinstalled by or completely replaced by using this mutation process. So here it is the concept. So it occurs when a DNA gene is damaged or changed in such a way to alter the genetic message carried by the gene is considered under the category of mutation. Suppose if DNA gene is changed, then what will happen? Mostly mRNA transcript data is also be varied, na? Alteration data is also be observed here, na? So simply you have to remember, so cloning means nothing but identical copies of cell. Next mutation means nothing but it concerns to DNA. Okay, next one, pluripotency. Okay, so pluripotency. So what is the meaning of pluripotency? So it describes the ability of cell to develop into three primary germ cells. Okay, so this is considered under the category of pluripotency. So here you have to remember the major objective in each and every method. Okay. Next one, which of the following popular kitchen ingredient is called as sugar eating fungus? Sugar eating fungus. So baking powder, yeast, vinegar, next ketchup. Mostly yeast is considered as sugar eating fungus, na? Sugar eating fungus. So in the preparation of sugar, okay, the name of the process is called as fermentation. Fermentation. If you consider molasses, when it is added with water in presence of, okay, mostly in presence of yeast, we can get sucrose. Sucrose plus carbon dioxide, na? Sorry, not sucrose. So here we are getting mostly alcohol. So fermentation means this is an industrial process to make alcohol. So initially alcohol can be prepared by using which process? Fermentation process. Na? In that also yeast plays one of the key role. Actually yeast releases two types of enzyme. One is invertase and second one is zymase enzyme. Okay, right. So next one, baking powder. So baking powder means nothing but sodium hydrogen carbonate. So this is called as edible salt. Okay, sodium hydrogen carbonate, right. So next vinegar. Vinegar means 4 to 8% acetic acid. 4 to 8% acetic acid is called as vinegar. So of course ketchup, you may have an idea. So this is one of the one of the carbohydrate. So this acetic acid or vinegar and baking powder, these two are used as one of the food preservators. Okay, right. So next one. Next one, here it is the yeast, okay, nothing but sugar eating fungus. So next one, the vertebrae or a part of which of the following body system in humans. Here they mention lungs, spinal cord, next kidney, next heart. Mostly we observe this type of derivatives in the region of spinal cord. Okay, so spinal cord. So due to that, option 2 is the right option here. So here it is. So if you consider spinal cord, so we have lumbar, next okay, so different types of constituents are there. Na? So mostly we observed in this region, so vertebrae. Okay, so vertebrae. So this type of derivatives mostly we observed in the spinal cord. Next, melatonin encodes protein in cell to prevent dash entry. Yes, melatonin. Actually, it prevents the entering of viruses. If you consider microorganisms, mostly melatonin is responsible to prevent the entering of viruses. So that's why we have to consider option 2 is the right option here. And one more interesting point. So this melatonin, okay, so this melatonin majorly produced or majorly synthesized in the region of lungs. So mostly in the region of lungs. So because of that, it prevents the entering of COVID-19 viruses also. Of course, we know that. So what is the name of COVID-19 virus? SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2. Okay, so severe acute respiratory syndrome of coronavirus. So this is the name of coronavirus. Severe acute respiratory syndrome of coronavirus 2. Okay, so this is the name of COVID-19 virus. COVID-19. Actually, here co means nothing but corona, V means virus, I means okay. So VI means virus, D means disease. So this coronaviral disease observed. First case was observed in the year of 2019. So simply it is mentioned like COVID-19. So COVID-19 is not considered as the name of coronavirus. So this is the name. Okay. So here it is the abbreviation. And next, what is the botanical name of mango? Botanical name of mango. So here they mention different terminology. Na? So Cocos nucifera. Next one, Magnifera indica. Next one, Monon longifolium. next one Casuarina. Okay, so Casuarina, so different terminology they mention, but the correct option is Magnifera indica. Okay, so Magnifera indica, option 2 is the right answer here. What about the remaining option? So Cocos nucifera. So simply it is considered like, okay, so the botanical name of coconut tree. So Cocos nucifera is considered as botanical name of coconut tree. Next, Magnifera indica, of course we know that this is the botanical name of mango, but if you consider the scientific name, it is called as Corylus linnaeus. Okay, Corylus linnaeus. So this is the scientific name of mostly mangoes. Na? And next one, so Munun longifolium. Yes, so this is the scientific name of, sorry, botanical name of false Ashoka. False Ashoka or Buddha tree. So different terminology we have. Okay, so these are all considered under the category of Munun longifolium. Okay, right. So next one, Casuarina. So this Casuarina is completely concerns to nitrogen fixing trees. Nitrogen fixing trees. Of course, you know that atmospheric nitrogen can be absorbed by, okay, so mostly plants in the form of nitrates, na? In the form of nitrates in the presence of nitrogen fixing fixing bacteria. Okay, yeah. So finally what I am saying is some of the trees are considered under this category. Let's consider some example. So first one is coast sheep oak, next beech oak. Okay, so this type of derivatives are considered under the category of Casuarina. Okay, so here you have to remember the remaining remaining options botanical names also. Okay, so next one. Which of the following is not a strong, a storage route? Not considered as a storage route. Yes. So here they mention about conical route, next napiform route, next fusiform route, next one breathing route. Okay, so which is the correct option here? Option 4, breathing routes. Mostly in the region of coast we observed this type of derivatives. Na? So it's looking like in this orientation, most of the mangrove regions we have this type of root system. It is not considered under the category of storage routes. Okay, so that's why we have to consider option 4. Next, World Leprosy Day 2023 was celebrated in India on dash. Okay, so on which date we will conduct World Leprosy Day? So mostly we conducted on January 30. January 30. Okay, so here the option is 2. Here it is 30 January 2023 World Leprosy Day. Okay, it's next one. Next one, which of the following disease is caused by bacteria? Caused by bacteria. So this type of questions are already we explained. Na? So here some of the concerns are mentioned here. So rubella, next polio, diphtheria, next one Zika fever. So we know that rubella, polio, Zika fever and diphtheria. Diphtheria is majorly caused by bacteria. Na? Next, what about Zika fever? So this Zika fever is caused by viruses. Okay, so here it is the options. Okay, so first of all, you have to know about diphtheria. So this diphtheria is majorly we observed the infection of nasal. Okay, so nasal regions. Na? Okay, next and one more interesting point is which is responsible for this diphtheria. So Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay, so this is responsible for that. This is responsible for diphtheria. You have to remember the name of the bacteria. Okay, and next one, if you consider fungi, okay, so mostly fungi, skin related infections we observe. Next, protozoa, so it is concerns to malaria. Next, calazar, okay, so calazar, so these two are concerns to protozoa. Next one, virus. So this virus related diseases are influenza, dengue, next AIDS, Zika fever, polio. Okay, so we already discussed about polio. We already discussed about some of the diseases in previous questions. Na? So you have to remember this terminology: influenza, next dengue, AIDS, next Zika fever, polio. These are all responsible by the effect of viruses. Next, bacteria. So typhoid, next cholera, next tuberculosis, anthrax, so tetanus. These are majorly caused by the effect of bacteria. Okay, right. So next one dash is the pattern of veins in the blade of a leaf. So pattern of veins. Suppose if you consider some leaves, here it's looking either in this orientation, or some of the leaves veins are looking like this orientation. Okay, so here it is. Here it is. So parallel veins, and next one netted veins. So parallel veins means here this is the major vein region. Na? So here remaining constituents are also in the same direction. Okay, so this is the major vein, and the remaining veins are also in the same direction. It means nothing but longitudinal parallel veins. This type of constituents are considered under the category of longitudinal parallel. So here also same kind of concept is there. Next netted veins. So if you observe these veins here, this is the major one. Remaining veins are looking like this, not completely parallel. Here also somewhat perpendicular. Here some angle is there. Okay, so not completely parallel. So this type of things are considered under the category of netted veins. Okay, so that's why here the correct option is nothing but venation. Venation. So option 4 is the right answer. Okay, right. So next one. The scientific study of birds is called. Okay, what is the scientific study of birds? Ornithology. Option 2 is the right answer. So what about, okay, so ornithology. What about the remaining options? So pomology. So next one, dash is the water transporting tissues in plants. Okay, of course if you consider plants, here xylem tubes are there. Na? So it is considered like one of the example of capillary tube. So these capillary tubes directly absorb the water derivatives. Okay, so because of that we have to consider option 2 is the right answer. Okay, option 2 is the right answer. So previously we discussed about this diseases. Na? So this disease was caused by which one? Protozoa. You should also remember this one. So protozoa related disease it is, right? So we have, okay, so mostly we observe this type of rashes on the skin. So mostly we observed scaly skin like this. Next one. So spider webs are made up of dash, a natural fiber made up of protein. Okay, so if you consider spider webs, mostly it concerns to, okay, so here made up of silk derivatives. Na? So silk derivatives. So because of that we have to consider option 2 is the right option, right one here. So next, which of the following plant hormones regulate growthing particularly by stimulating cell elongation in stems? Okay, so what did they mention? Plant hormone regulates growth particularly by stimulating cell elongation in stems. So here they mention ethylene, next auxin, next one cytokinin, next gibberellin. So we have to consider option 2, auxin. So okay, so these auxins are majorly existed like this. Okay, if you consider plants derivatives, so here auxin molecules are existed like this. So this is responsible for elongation. Na? Okay, so elongation. So option 2 is the right option here. Of course, ethylene. So this ethylene is a hormone. So mostly hormones are exist in gas state, but mostly hormones are exist in liquid state, but this hormone exists in gas state. Okay, so gaseous state. What is the specialty of this hormone? So by using this hormone, we can mostly ripen the fruits. Okay, so simply we should consider like this. This chemical is responsible for natural ripening of fruits. Natural ripening of fruits. Natural ripening of fruits. So which one is responsible for artificial ripening of fruits? Artificial ripening of fruits. The responsible one is acetylene. The responsible one is acetylene or calcium carbide. Calcium carbide. So these are responsible for artificial ripening of fruits. Okay, right. So next one, which of the following is not a disease caused by a virus? So here they mention Ebola, AIDS, Zika, next plague. So Ebola, so this one is caused by mostly viruses, na? Ebola virus. Next AIDS are also responsible by the virus, next caused by the virus. Next Zika, of course Zika virus is there. Okay, so what about plague? So this one is caused by bacteria. Okay, so that's why we have to consider option 4 is the right answer. So the name of the bacteria is pronounced as Yersinia pestis. Okay, Yersinia pestis. So this is the name of the bacteria, you have to remember. So this is caused by the bite of rats. So mostly we observed in the period of 17th century and 18th century, most of the cases we observed in that period. Na? So finally here the correct option is option 4. Option 4, plague. It is caused by bacteria. Next, which of the following body part behaves like a stretched rubber sheet? So eardrum, tongue, next nostril, next one eyelids. So which is considered under this one, a stretched rubber sheet. No? So here if you consider eardrum, mostly eardrum, so this one is considered under this category. Okay, it is having the stretching capable phenomena. So that's why option 1 is the right answer. Option 1 is the right answer. Next, which of the following is flightless? Okay, so flightless bird. Flightless bird. So here crane, next kiwi, next peacock, next hen. Of course, if you consider kiwi, so it does not having wings. Na? Mostly here you can observe. So this is considered as flightless bird. Okay, so that's why option 2 is the right answer. Okay, option 2 is the right answer. Next, the liver is affected and skin and eyes. Okay, which part is affected? Liver. Liver is affected and the skin, eyes turns yellow. So due to the deposit of bile pigments, which of the following digestive disorder is described here? So vomiting, so jaundice, constipation, next diarrhea, which is the responsible one here. So if you considered jaundice, mostly eyes color, eyeball color turns to yellow. Na? Skin color is also turns to yellow like that because the bile pigment. Okay, so vomiting is not considered under that category. Of course, constipation. So this is okay. To overcome this constipation, we have to consider Epsom salt like that. Okay, Epsom salt. So this is the remedy for constipation problem. Next, diarrhea. Of course, we know that. So diarrhea is caused by the effect caused by variants of bacteria. Next, viruses. Next, fungi also. Right. So here we have to consider option 2 is the right answer because they mentioned the color of specific body parts. Na? Right. So next one. Who among the following developed the polio vaccine? Okay, who among the following developed the polio vaccine? So of course, Johnson Salk. So he developed a polio vaccine. So mostly the world first vaccine was developed by Edwin Jenner. He is considered as father of vaccines. Okay, so by use so mostly he developed this vaccine for smallpox. Okay, smallpox, Edward Jenner. So, but here they mention about polio vaccine. So, this is the correct option here. Option 1 is the correct option. So, polio. So, mostly in India, almost 0 cases were founded. If you observed recently, 0 cases were founded. So, these are the major concepts which were mentioned in SSC CGL biology point of view. So, that is why first of all you have to give the priority to diseases and bacteria, next fungi related, next virus related diseases. Okay. So, what are those and what kind of defects we observed in that. Next deficiency of iodine, deficiency of iron, deficiency of cobalt. Okay, so next different types of metals are also responsible for different types of diseases. Now, for example, if you consider nitrate, okay, so excess amount of nitrate causes blue baby syndrome. Next deficiency of iodine causes goiter. Next excess amount of cadmium, okay, so it causes itai disease. Next mercury, consumption of mercury is also causes menometa diseases. So first you have to give priority to diseases related concepts. And next one vitamins. Okay, so what is the chemical name of different vitamins? So which one can easily soluble in water, which one is soluble in fat? Okay, so in this orientation we expect most of the questions in SSC CGL Tier 1 point of view. So you have to prepare NCERT textbooks as the reference for SSC CGL Tier 1. Okay, not only SSC CGL. Okay, so it is also concerns to SSC CHSL exam. So this is about today's class. Thank you. We'll meet in the next class.